The boxing lightweight division is a blend of power, speed, and finesse. In the past, fighters like the tactical genius Pernell Sweet Pea Whitaker and the ferocious and relentless fighter Roberto Duran defined and shaped the division into what our top 5 fighters today embody. Today's top 5 is an incredible mix of talent, and I can't wait to analyze and give each of them a rating to have the grand overview on what the top of the division looks like. As always, I'll be rating them by giving them stats for 5 key traits. The first is power, how often the fighter knocks down or knocks out their opponents. Hand speed, the speed of their combinations and jab. Endurance, how much punishment they can take to the head and body and keep fighting well. Gas tank, whether they can manage their energy well enough to perform well in the later rounds. And technique, their footwork, head movement, downloading information during the fight, and any other tools the fighter may have in their arsenal. And finally, give them a rating out of 5 stars. This list is going to be stacked, so let's start with one of the most exciting young stars of the sport, Shakur Stevenson. Born in 1997 in Newark, New Jersey, with a clean record of 21 wins, no defeats or draws, Shakur epitomizes a style and blend of finesse and technique in the ring. Employing a southpaw stance, he uses his impressive reach and exceptional speed to control the tempo. Stevenson's defensive prowess shines with nimble footwork, elusive head movement, and slick upper body slips, thwarting opponents' advances effortlessly. This technical prowess was enough to earn him gold medals in both the Youth World Championships and Youth Olympics in 2014, as well as a silver medal in the 2016 Olympic Games. His offensive strategy is marked by lightning-quick jabs, precise counterpunches, and seamless combinations. Some potential vulnerabilities, however, are seen with his punching power and occasional lapses in aggressiveness, which could be exploited by more aggressive fighters. Nonetheless, Stevenson's adaptability and ring intelligence continue to make him a formidable force in the boxing world. Now, let's see what that means for his stats. Stevenson's power seems to be his kryptonite, and he'll get a 6 in this category. His hands, however, come at a blistering pace of 8 out of 10, though it could be higher once we see him fight tougher opposition. He hasn't been hurt badly enough to affect the outcome of his fights, but this could be due to his efficient defense, so we're giving him an 8 for endurance. His style works as well as it has because his fitness is at such a high level, giving his gas tank a rating of 9 out of 10. His technique does look fantastic, but he hasn't fought an elite enough opposition to put it higher than an 8 just yet. I do have a feeling that these stats will be higher once we see him tested against tougher opposition. But for now, Shakur gets an overall 3.9 out of 5 stars. On to our next fighter. Born in Ukraine in 1988 with a record of 17 wins and 3 losses, Vasyl Lomachenko has often been hailed as one of the most technical proficient boxers of his generation, maybe of all time. Standing at 5'7" or 170 centimeters, Loma possesses a unique fighting style characterized by a mesmerizing blend of athleticism, creativity, and ring intelligence. Operating from an orthodox stance, Lomachenko seamlessly transitions between offense and defense with fluid footwork and impeccable timing. His footwork is particularly noteworthy as he adeptly maneuvers around his opponents, creating angles to land punches while evading their strikes. Lomachenko's offensive arsenal is diverse, featuring lightning-fast combinations, devastating body shots, and precise counterpunching. He possesses exceptional speed and accuracy, often overwhelming his opponents with flurries of punches from various angles. Additionally, Lomachenko's defensive skills are elite, utilizing head movement, shoulder rolls, and expertly timed slips to evade incoming attack. While Lomachenko's style is predominantly technical, he is also known for his aggression and willingness to engage in close quarters combat when necessary. His ability to adapt mid-fight and exploit opponents' weaknesses further solidifies his status as a boxing genius. Having said all this, let's assign some stats to Lomachenko. Loma has enough power to stand and exchange punches with high-level fighters, but not quite enough to get him more than a 7 out of 10. The speed of his hands are one of the real keys to his offense, and he gets a 10 for hand speed. Loma also has a defense so good that it is tough to rate his endurance. We're giving him a 9 since he hasn't been hurt significantly. There doesn't seem to be any limiter on his stamina, so he gets a gas tank rating of 10 out of 10. And finally, Loma has mastered every part of his technique and deserves a perfect score of 10 for his technique. All this brings the overall score of this legendary tactician to a spectacular 4.6 stars. Moving on from technicians, we look at a ferocious young talent in the man known as Isaac Pitbull Cruz. Born in Mexico City in 1998 and turning pro at only 17 years old, Pitbull embodies an aggressive and relentless fighting style that often overwhelms opponents. He has a record of 25 wins, 2 losses and 1 draw. Measuring in a bit shorter than most in the division at 5'4" or 163 centimeters, Cruz applies constant pressure on his adversaries, relentlessly moving forward with explosive bursts of power. His approach is marked by a high volume of punches, particularly to the body, aiming to wear down opponents and break down their resolve. Pitbull Cruz possesses exceptional punching power in both hands, often finishing combinations with thunderous hooks and uppercuts. His relentless aggression can be intimidating as he maintains a high work rate throughout the fight, refusing to give the opponent any room to breathe. Additionally, Cruz showcases solid defensive skills, utilizing head movement and blocking techniques to minimize incoming damage while staying in range to unleash his own attacks. Now, what kind of stats are we looking at for Pitbull Cruz? Cruz is all about heavy hands and aggression. He gets a well-deserved 8 for power. His ferocity comes at a relentless pace, faster than they are strong. Pitbull gets a 9 for hand speed. Pitbull has stood toe-to-toe with the hardest puncher in the division and didn't flinch. He gets a perfect 10 for endurance. He's never shown any problems keeping up the pace through 12 rounds, and he gets a solid 10 for gas tank. Finally, his high output relentless technique gets him a spectacular looking win more often than not. He gets an 8 for technique. Taking all of this into account, this brings Pitbull's total to a whopping 4.5 stars. From there, we move on to one of the most talked about athletes in combat sports, the ferocious powerhouse Javante "Tank" Davis. He's undefeated in 29 fights with 27 KOs. Tank boasts an exciting fighting style characterized by explosive power, speed and aggression. Fighting primarily from a southpaw stance, Davis is known for his exceptional athleticism and natural punching power. He possesses devastating knockout power in both hands, capable of ending fights with single punches. He's knocked out all but 2 of his opponents that he's ever fought, one of them being the man we've just looked at, Pitbull Cruz. Davis utilizes slick footwork to close the distance quickly, often launching powerful combinations to overwhelm his opponents. His offensive arsenal includes thunderous hooks, lethal uppercuts and lightning fast jabs, all delivered with precision and ferocity. Despite his aggressive approach, Davis displays solid defensive skills, slipping punches with ease and utilizing shoulder rolls to evade incoming strikes. While Davis excels in close quarters combat, he also demonstrates abilities to box from the outside, utilizing his speed and footwork to control the pace of the fight. Davis's explosive fighting style and knockout power make him a thrilling force in the boxing world. Having said all that, let's look at the stats for Tank Davis. With a 90% knockout ratio and many of them being high-level fighters, Tank's lethal hands get a 10 for power. He's been in the ring with many other power punches and comes out on top due to his lightning-fast combinations. He gets a 10 for hand speed. That same reasoning goes for his endurance too. He outlasts strong fighters to always get the victory. His endurance is also at a 10. Even at the highest level, he manages to keep the pace up in the late rounds. He gets another 10 for gas tank. His technique looks near flawless and overwhelms any opponent he steps in the ring with. It's a 10 for technique too. That makes Tank only the second fighter ever on this channel to get a perfect 5 stars. And we have one final combatant to look at. He is the brand new addition to the boxing scene, Andy Cruz. Hailing from Matanzas, Cuba, the 28-year-old Cruz has only 3 professional fights to his name, but his amateur record is incredible. He's won gold medals in every Cuban national championship from 2016 to 2019, the Pan American Games in 2015 and 2019, the World Amateur Championships in 2017, 2019 and 21, as well as in 2020 Olympics. Now he's come to the world of professional boxing to take it by storm. Andy Cruz showcases a highly technical and elusive fighting style that revolves around exceptional footwork, exceptional defense, and precise counterpunching. Cruz's approach is marked by his ability to control the pace of the fight with calculated movement and strategic positioning. Cruz utilizes superb footwork to maneuver around the ring, often darting in and out of range to frustrate opponents and create openings. His defensive skills are top-notch, characterized by fluid head movement, slick upper body slips, and tight guard, making it difficult for opponents to land clean punches. Offensively, Cruz employs a strategic, methodical approach, capitalizing on opponents' mistakes with sharp counter-punches and well-timed combinations. Now, let's look at what kind of stats that gets Andy Cruz. With 1 knockout in 3 fights, it's tough to say what his power is very accurately, but 7 seems to be right for about right now. Even though his hands don't have any indication of being heavy, they are fast enough for him to get a 9 for hand speed. He has yet to prove whether he can take punches from some of the harder hitters, but at the level he is, it should be at least a 7. As with his untested endurance, we need to see whether his gas tank can last. He doesn't seem to have much trouble holding his pace, so he gets an 8. One thing we can tell from his extensive amateur career is that his technique is near flawless, and that'll get him a 10 out of 10. For now, this brings the dazzling technician to a very respectable 4.1 stars. And that wraps up the analysis for the lightweight division on paper. Please do leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed this content and want to see more. Catch you on the next one.